The Galactic Council chamber stretched vast and imposing, its crystalline walls refracting the light of a dozen distant stars. Representatives from 300 species occupied their designated seats, each positioned according to ancient protocols of hierarchy and power. At the center of the circular amphitheater, elevated above all others, sat Empress Vakthara of the Xinthian Empire. She was magnificent and terrifying in equal measure. Standing nearly 12 feet tall even when seated, her chitinous exoskeleton shimmered with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed with her mood, currently a deep, warning crimson. Forearms rested on the armrests of her throne, each ending in razor-sharp talons that could pierce through steel. Her compound eyes, multifaceted like black diamonds, surveyed the chamber with the cold assessment of an apex predator. The seats immediately surrounding her throne remained conspicuously empty. This was not by accident. The Xinthians had conquered 47 star systems in the past century alone. Their military prowess was legendary, their diplomatic patience non-existent. Vakthara herself had personally led campaigns that reduced entire fleets to debris fields. To sit beside her was to accept the possibility of death, should one's words or presence displease her. The closest occupied seat was a full 20 meters away, held by a trembling Kilon ambassador who kept his gelatinous form as small as possible. Adam Torres noticed none of this significance. He was busy mopping. The human janitor pushed his industrial cleaning unit across the polished floor, headphones firmly in place, nodding along to some ancient Earth music that predated humanity's first contact with alien civilizations. His navy blue jumpsuit was worn but clean, and he wore the universal expression of someone who had long ago mastered the art of being invisible in plain sight. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been called to address the brewing conflict in the Andromeda sector. Tensions ran high. The Krellian collective accused the Xinthian Empire of territorial violations. The evidence was presented. The arguments grew heated. Empress Vakthara's bioluminescence shifted from crimson to an angry violet. Adam's route around the chamber periphery brought him inevitably closer to the elevated center. His music switched to a particularly catchy rhythm. He bobbed his head, pulling the mop in figure eights across the floor, completely absorbed in his task. The cleaning unit beeped. It needed to be emptied. Adam glanced around for the nearest service alcove. There, right behind the Empress's throne. He'd have to squeeze past her seat to access. And he paused his music and approached. The chamber fell silent. 300 species held their collective breath as the small human walked directly toward the Empress of the Xinthian Empire. Surely he would stop. Surely he understood the protocols, the danger, the absolute insanity of approaching her elevated position uninvited. Adam did not stop. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said politely, gesturing to the service alcove. "Just need to get past for a sec." Vakthara's 4 eyes swiveled to regard him. Her bioluminescence flickered with confusion, an emotion she rarely experienced. This creature was small, fragile, completely unarmed. It showed no signs of fear. In fact, it was looking at her with the patient expectancy of someone waiting for a fellow passenger to move aside on public transportation. After a moment that felt like an eternity to the watching delegates, Vakthara shifted one of her massive legs aside. "Thanks," Adam said cheerfully, slipping past her throne. He emptied his cleaning unit in the alcove, then paused, noticing a discarded water bulb that had rolled under the Empress's seat. He bent down and retrieved it. "People gotta learn to use the trash chutes," he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. As he straightened, he noticed the Empress watching him. Really watching him with an intensity that had preceded the destruction of worlds. Adam smiled. It was the same friendly, meaningless smile he gave everyone. The Quellan cafeteria staff, the Draxian security guards, the Terran diplomats who never bothered to learn his name. "Long day, huh?" he said, because the Empress looked like she could use some sympathy. Those fancy chairs always looked uncomfortable to him. "These sessions go on forever. You want some water? The cold dispensers are just over there." He pointed helpfully. Vakthara's bioluminescence shifted again to a pale blue that none of the delegates had ever witnessed. Curiosity. Genuine curiosity. "You are not afraid," she stated, her voice like grinding stone. Adam shrugged. "Should I be? You're just sitting here doing your job, same as me." I clean you. Govern, I guess. He gestured vaguely at the chamber. Honestly, your job seems worse. All these people talking at once. At least floors don't argue back. Something that might have been amusement rippled across Vakthara's features. She gestured to the empty seat beside her throne, a seat that had remained vacant for 7 years since a Krellian ambassador had occupied it and insulted her military record. He had not survived the session. Sit, she commanded. The chamber erupted in gasps, clicks, and various species-specific sounds of shock. Adam glanced at his watch. Well, I'm technically on break in 5 minutes anyway. He climbed up the steps and settled into the ornate seat, which was obviously designed for someone much larger. His feet dangled several inches above the floor. Appreciate it. These boots kill my feet, and there he sat. Adam Torres, janitor, 3rd class, employee number 47823, beside the Empress of the Zynthian Empire, casually pulling out a thermos of coffee and a sandwich wrapped in biodegradable film. Want half? He offered, holding out the sandwich. It's peanut butter and jelly. Classic Earth food. Pretty good. Vakthara stared at the offered food for a long moment. Then, with a delicacy that seemed impossible for such a large being, she accepted the half sandwich with 2 of her 4 hands. She consumed it in 1 bite. This is acceptable, she declared, right? Adam grinned. Can't go wrong with the classics. For the next 20 minutes as the council session continued around them, Adam and the Empress sat in companionable silence. He sipped his coffee. She occasionally asked him questions about his work, his species, his complete lack of survival instinct. He answered honestly, without pretense or fear, treating her exactly as he treated everyone else, with basic human decency and the casual friendliness of someone who genuinely didn't understand why anyone would be anything other than nice. When the session finally adjourned, Vakthara stood. Her bioluminescence had shifted to a warm gold. You will sit here again tomorrow, she informed Adam. It was not a request. Sure thing, Adam replied, gathering his cleaning supplies. Same time? Same time. As Adam descended the steps and resumed his mopping, the 300 species of the Galactic Council watched in stunned silence. The human had done the impossible. He had sat beside the Empress and lived. More than that, he had made her laugh. They had heard it, a deep rumbling sound like tectonic plates shifting, when he'd told some story about a particularly stubborn floor stain. Cora Mitchell, the human ambassador to the Galactic Council, approached Adam as he worked near the exit. She was young for a diplomat, barely 30, with sharp eyes and sharper political instincts. Do you have any idea what you just did? She asked, her voice caught between awe and exasperation. Adam paused his mopping. Took my break? You sat beside Empress Vakthara, the Zynthian Empress. Do you understand the significance? He shrugged. She seemed lonely. Those seats around her were all empty. That's kind of sad, don't you think? Cora stared at him, then slowly smiled. Humans, she thought, were going to do just fine in this galaxy, not because of their weapons or their technology or their diplomatic corps, but because people like Adam Torres existed. People who saw a lonely empress instead of a terrifying conqueror, who offered half a sandwich instead of tribute, who treated everyone with the same unremarkable kindness regardless of their capacity for destruction. Yeah, Cora said softly. Yeah, I guess it is kind of sad. The next day, Adam returned to his seat beside the throne. And the day after that, within a month, the empty buffer zone around Empress Vakthara began to shrink as other delegates found courage in the human's example. Peace talks in the Andromeda sector succeeded beyond all expectations, and Adam Torres continued mopping floors, eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and reminding the galaxy that sometimes the most powerful weapon humanity possessed was simply giving a damn about other people, even 12-foot-tall alien empresses, who could crush them like insects, especially them,